here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials, here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Okay, we're still all dealing with this whole coronavirus thing. So I thought I would do another video that I'm going to call COVID-19, the what, the why, and the how to stay safe and sane. And interestingly enough, I think this is going to fit really nicely with the last 2 videos I did. I try to post one of these videos every week, by the way. And so I did one called Using Awareness versus Worry to Stay Safe about 2 weeks ago. And then last week, I did one called The Neuroscience of How to Strengthen Your Immune System. So I think those 2 videos are going to work very nicely with this, and you put them all together, you're going to get that what and the why and the how. The first 2 videos are kind of about the what and the why. I talked a little bit about the how. Today, in this particular video, I'm going to go into a detailed model for how to actually shift from what I call the lower brain, the brain stem, up into the neocortex. The reason you want to do that is because when we're in this lower brain, we're triggering adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. Those are the fight or flight chemicals. They actually shut down our immune system because the body thinks it's supposed to be in a fight or flight mode, and so it shuts down all non-essential systems. So in my seminar, in my video called The Neuroscience of How to Strengthen Your Immune System, I went into all of that. So what I want to do is show you, give you a 5-step model you can do anywhere, anytime, a behavioral model that's going to show you how to shift from this lower brain to the upper brain, from the fight or flight mode to the upper 80% of the brain, where we're triggering serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, the kind of chemicals that help us think better, feel better, and actually strengthen our immune system because it allows our body to work better. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is kind of give you the how. The what and the why is, okay, what's happening is that we're all experiencing some form of anxiety, and we are finding ourselves stressed or anxious or frustrated or afraid or resentful or angry or whatever. That's the what. The why is because our middle brain, this limbic system, its mission on the planet is to keep us safe as a species, and it has a tendency to interpret almost anything negative as dangerous and throws us into the part of the brain that's designed to deal with danger. That puts us in that lower brain. And if we try to deal with life from that lower brain, in other words, if we try to create the life we want while we are worried or frustrated or anxious or annoyed or whatever, depressed, we're not going to be very successful because this lower brain really isn't designed to do that. So what we want to do is recognize when we're in that lower brain, anytime we're feeling stressed, anxious, frustrated, depressed, annoyed, angry, whatever, and then have a model for actually how to shift from the lower brain to the upper brain, change the chemical makeup of your body from adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol to serotonin and endorphins. All right, so what we want to do first is have this upper 80% of the brain, what I call the top of the mind. That's kind of the life from the top of the mind philosophy that I talk about. By the way, I have written a book about that. If you're wanting to know kind of a detailed version of what I'm about to show you, it's in the book, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that toward the end. So if we want to shift from this lower brain to the upper brain, what we want to do is have the upper brain regain control from the lower brain. A lot of people talk about feeling out of control when they're at lower brain, and that's a very understandable reaction. So, given that the lower brain normally controls breathing and that the lower brain normally controls muscle tension, if we will have the upper 80% of the brain take over those 2 functions, we will literally have this upper 80% of the brain regaining control from the lower 20%. That's why if you've ever done any yoga or Tai Chi or mindfulness or stress management, almost all of it starts with breathing. And a lot of people go, oh, Bill, don't tell me to take a deep breath. It doesn't change anything. So it doesn't change anything out there. But what we now know, it actually has this upper 80% of the brain taking over, regaining control from this lower 20% of the brain. And that's going to be really critical if we want to be able to influence our experience of life from this upper 80% of the brain. So I encourage you to use what I call the 4-4-4 model. It's what the Navy SEALs use to regain control. It's real easy. You just inhale for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, release for a count of 4, and say the word relax on the exhale. Now, not relax, just relax. You need to relax. No, relax. You want to say it in a way that actually allows your muscles to kind of relax, kind of let your shoulders fall. So it looks something like this. relax. Now, I did the counting on my fingers. I like that because it adds one more behavioral component to it. If you want to do the counting on your fingers, fine. The reason I'm doing the counting, and the reason I encourage you to do the counting, is there's only one part of the brain that can count, and that's this upper 80% of the brain. So, we may need to do this more than once, by the way. So what you want to do is do this, breathing, hold it, say exhale, say the word relax on the exhale, counting while you're doing that, 4, 4, 4. Inhale for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, release for a count of 4, until you feel in control. May take 2 times, may take 5 times, okay? Just do it until you feel in control. Once you feel in control, you now know you are coming from this upper 80% of the brain, but we don't want to stop there. You know, this isn't about just taking a deep breath and everything's going to be fine. What we want to do now is use this upper 80% of the brain, use this clear, confident, creative part of who we are to determine what we want to feel and think going forward. So the 4 questions I really encourage people to ask when they want to be very purposeful about how they think, how they feel, how they act going forward. Number 1, am I doing this on purpose? Have I chosen to do it, or did I just find myself doing it? Number 2, is this thought, emotion, or action really serving me? Is it working for me? Is it helping me create the life I want? Number 3, is this how I want to be defined? Is this the statement I want to make about who I am? I react to this by that. And number 4, I love number 4, would I teach or recommend this reaction, this thought, emotion, behavior to someone I love? When we're feeling stressed, angry, frustrated, annoyed, depressed, the answer is going to be no, 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 and no. I'm not doing this on purpose. It's not really working for me. It's not how I want to be defined, and no, I would never teach or recommend this to someone I love. So we use these same 4 questions. I call them the 4 criteria to say, okay, what if I were dealing with this whole coronavirus thing today in a way that was more purposeful, in a way that I believe is more effective, in a way that does make the statement I want to make about who I am, in a way I would teach to someone I love, what would that look like? How about more clear, more confident, more creative, more compassionate, more calm, more influential, more empathetic, more purposeful, whatever it is? You're going to come up with qualities and characteristics that define who you are when you're coming from this upper 80% of the brain. I would encourage you to make a list of those so you don't just forget them. Now you know who you want to be, how you want to be. That doesn't get us there, but at least it shifts us from a focus on the problem to a focus on the solution from this upper 80% of the brain. The way to get there is to say, okay, who am I when I'm being this way? Who am I when I'm clear, confident, creative, compassionate? What's my tone of voice like? What's my body language like? Have I ever been confident and calm? Well, of course. What did that look like? Have I ever been influential and understanding? Well, of course. What did that look like? So you want to create an image, a little movie in your mind of who you are when you're being the way you have chosen that you would teach to someone you love. Because the body and the mind doesn't know the difference between a real and an imagined event. So when we're holding images of what we're afraid of, the body triggers chemicals that are designed to deal with fear and fight or flight. When we're holding an image of us at our best, the body triggers chemicals like serotonin and endorphins that fit with clear, confident, creative, compassionate, kind, curious, influential, loving, whatever it is. So you imagine being that way, and then you notice the change. Do I feel differently? Am I thinking differently? Am I being differently now at the end of this model than I did at the very beginning? So the cool thing about my models is I like them to spell things so that you can remember them. So this model spells brain. It's all about shifting from the lower brain to the upper brain. It spells brain. Breathe, relax, ask those 4 questions, or just how would I rather be feeling is another way to ask that question. Imagine being this way. Notice the change, B-R-A-I-N. So the cool thing about the brain model is it is a scientific way of shifting from this lower, frustrated, angry, resentful, frightened part of who we are to this clear, confident, creative part of who we are, and it uses a model that actually spells brain that does that. Pair this with those first 2 videos, and I'm going to put the name of these videos and a link to these videos, or at least the URL to these videos, on a slide at the end of this video. So if you want to check those out, you can. If you know how to use awareness versus worry to stay safe, if you know how to use neuroscience to strengthen your immune system, And if you know a specific behavioral model for shifting from this lower brain to the upper brain, where you actually are strengthening your immune system, you're making better decisions, you're being purposeful, you're living your life in a way that you would teach to someone you love, that's going to help you stay safe and sane during this whole problematic situation. And when we come out of it, you're going to have this ability to bring your best to life in any situation. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you do, please hit the like button. You know how everybody loves it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you feel it's valuable. Feel free to subscribe to me on YouTube or follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Pinterest or iTunes or Twitter. Any of that, I post one of these every week. Plus, by the way, every week I do send out one of these videos in an email to folks on my email list. There's about 6,000 of them, and also a 2 or 3 paragraph about how to apply the quote to life or the idea to life. If that's something you would like to do, just go to my website, Bill Crawford, Ph.D., hit the subscribe button. It's free. Put your name, email address, and you'll receive one of these each week. If you would like me either to come to your organization or in this time of virtual presentations to do a virtual presentation for your church, your school, your organization, so that your leadership team, your employees, your kids, your congregation really understands how to use the brain to stay safe and sane during this situation, all you got to do is go to my website, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. So in the meantime, here is to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity about how to stay safe and sane during the middle of this challenging situation. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.